Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel, where I have the event list up from the wrong stream. Because I just haven't bothered to set up an event list for this stream. How's everybody doing tonight? Gonna start out as usual with some Inkulinati. And then there's going to be a little chod roast. I gotta get my windows in order. Okay, continuing journey. Show me what you got. Sword-wielding pigeon. Neat. Okay, chance to win a bonus quill sounds good. Let's see, bow pigeon. Yeah, okay, we'll do it that way. Oh, it's a full house. Yeah, they just bounce off those doors. These are the new characters that they just put in. It said that they were going to put some birds in, and this is them. Oh, didn't mean to do that. That's unfortunate. Hell. Oops. Okay. 2-on-1 now. And... some prestige, yum. And what do we got? Yeah, that works. Um... myself a little bit of armor plating. And... boop. Okay. Okay. Oh, those are nice little things. Oh, that's handy. Now I'm on ink and I'm getting extra health. Okay, get him. Okay. It's another one down. Move him over there. And there. Okay, some apocalyptic fire coming up. Excellent. Like a bit of apocalyptic fire. Hello, chat. Who's just joined me? Okay. And I think that's the last one. Okay. Take the bow-wielding dog. A diverse array of bow wielders is handy. Hello, Adam. How you doing? And Francis. This is a new character. Also. Okay, they really have been adding some new stuff here. The man sheepishly eats the acorn. So you have no issue with trusting death and ignoring their chubby belly. But somehow my behavior is problematic. I must warn you, You will deeply regret this. Okay. Goed mondelijk. Maar ons gaan zien. Oh, I'm pretty good. Oh, hell. Okay. Oh, it's one of these. Okay. Got so... Yeah, I can't just put, the guitar-wielding skeleton out on the field just yet, or that'll be the only thing. Give myself some armor. That's also a new thing. Stick him in there. And some extra ink. I've been working on a video essay on this whole Jamie Reed bullshit, and... Oh, what's that? That's new, too. All sorts of new shit going on here. On this whole fake-ass whistleblower in St. Louis, and the, completely unjustifiable career of Jesse Singal. And I have to say, the more I read of that, the more just impressive it is to me that anyone could actually even pretend for a moment that Jamie Reed is a credible source. I mean, she is just, like, she's remarkably full of shit. I mean, her main fucking complaint comes down to that she feels that as a member of the admin staff responsible for booking appointments and shit, she should be allowed to practice medicine, and that it's somehow unseemly that she isn't. And it's like, yeah, no, that's not how that works. I mean, I did medical admin a long time ago. Horrible job. And I don't remember getting any input into clinical decision making because obviously you wouldn't. Not the same qualification, not the same fucking job. But that's like literally the complaint she keeps coming back to, that she, as a fucking like clerical staff member, was not given a veto power over the decisions made by doctors, patients, and their parents. I mean, it's remarkable. Death pigeons. They will steal your chips. Oh, well, that's handy. That's actually... I don't mind that. That suits me. Okay. Did I reach him? No. Pity. Okay. Ooh, okay. There we go. Okay, healing, grief. Hand actions. Which have we got? Draw a gate. Sleep. Detonation. I like detonation. Detonation is handy. And the mighty dog. I didn't really want to win. I am far from being tempted by worldly desires. Unlike Brother Master, binge eating and pranks is only what he thinks about. I was going for West Country, and I think I got Wexford. That works. I've been invited to give just a small informal talk at the Academy of Graphic Arts in Munich about my crowdfunded translation project in May. So that's kind of cool. Okay. Wait, that's all I'm dealing with, just those three? Okay, cool. This won't be hard. Axe. Move him over. Okay. That'll sort him. Hang on. Bit washed out here. Svojstva. There, that's better. Still haven't completely got the hang of the whole lighting thing. I just sort of adjusted how I'm sitting and suddenly I'm completely washed out. Okay, that's that one sorted. And buenas noches, Fénix, ¿cómo estás? Holy shit, I've got 7 people watching? That shows just how, like, fucking popular my stream is, that I'm like, wow, 7 whole fucking people. But cool. No. Oh, I'm not bad. I don't know if you heard me talking about it a minute ago. I don't know how recently you came in, but, I'm working on a video essay on all of this, Jamie Reed bullshit. On Jamie Reed and the intersection of Jamie Reed's bullshit and, fucking Jesse Singles bullshit. And how basically any, like, remotely serious, like, legit journalist would immediately back away very carefully from any story relying on the so-called whistleblowing of Jamie Reed. I've been writing the script for the past couple of days and just collecting everything and researching it, and the more of this shit I read from her, the more just completely just beyond any plausibility it is that somebody would, somebody like an actual serious journalist would believe it. Okay, have you seen stories about a supposed whistleblower at a gender clinic in St. Louis? It was, you can already, as I said at the beginning of the stream yesterday, you kind of all you need to know about this so-called whistleblower is the people she went to, with her story about supposedly, that, you know, she supposedly cares so much about these trans kids that she went to Jesse Singal, Barry Weiss, and the fucking Missouri State Attorney General, who thinks trans people shouldn't be allowed to exist. And that's like, that's supposed to be a fucking whistleblower that we're supposed to take seriously. And what's even more impressive is just how completely just off the hook bullshit her actual complaints are. And so I'm gonna be I'm working on the script for that right now and getting all the research done over. This is like what I'm doing over coffee. Over coffee is when I like study, finish, and write shit. I didn't know that you could make your Twitter account 18 plus only. What's the advantage of doing that? Like, what happens if you do that? Is it just, you know, anyone viewing it has to prove that they can subtract the current year from 18, or how's that work? Or subtract 18 from the current year, more accurately? Oh shit. I should have thought of that. Oh, I see. Ah, that makes sense. Hope that works out. Yes, we're rematching. Okay. Oh, in the ideal position there. I'm right under the life-giving clouds. That is exactly what I like. Okay. Let's have a pigeon. Yes, I can see where that would be kind of awkward. Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh no, I gotta sort this out first. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, fucking living the dream, desk jobs. And there we go. And good timing. It is about midnight. Makes sense. So, we have reached the roasting hour. Now, for anyone who wasn't here last night, we watched some we watched actually a very sedate, I would have to say, carnival of reaction, as Has from Infrared debated President Sunday on like a completely incoherent political theory that Has claims to have come up with. And there's still a fair bit of that, so we could check that out. But we've got a couple options here. Let's see what else we got. Well, you may remember that white nationalists, the white rage against the war machine, fucking rally that Caleb Maupin was standing. Well, he's summing that up, and we've got a quickie here. Caleb Maupin on what does woke mean, and yeah, here's another one that I think possibly might just be completely buck wild. January 6th political prisoners and peaceful transition to socialism. Like, all the fucking political prisoners that there are in this country, the ones he picks to be concerned about are the pricks from January 6th, who a lot of them were literal cops. And, yeah. Yeah, that's messed up. I mean, not fucking Mumia, not the various Black Panthers who are still in prison over complete bullshit. Not say Asada Shakur, who still can't come into the country because of some bullshit charges she has because of her political work. You know, so many other people, so many other political prisoners in this country, and the ones he cares about are the ones from January 6th, like Nazi Chewbacca and the rest of them. And peaceful transition to socialism. And then, so we've got the President Sunday and Has from Infrared. And are you a bad ally if you buy Hogwarts Legacy? And I've got a dead leg. That sitting cross-legged seemed like a great idea for about 5 minutes, and now I can't feel in my toes. Okay, so a debate on Hogwarts Legacy, which turns out, incidentally, it seems that it has dropped off very sharply. I just saw a graph of, like, the amount of playtime it's getting and the amount of streaming it's getting. And it is just completely just bottoming out just within weeks. So, I think let's start out with what does woke mean? That's a quickie. Always move on to other things afterwards.
Well, I'm in New York City near Times Square, and I noticed that there's all this confusion about what woke means.
Wait, okay, so he's in New York City by Times Square, and that led him to notice that there's confusion about what woke means? Okay, yeah, do enlighten us. Enlighten us, great leader.
So I thought I would just take a few minutes to explain what
Could you stop spitting?
And woke actually means. Now we know the word and the term woke goes back to the black community. There is use.
Oh wow, this is actually a kind of a first, that somebody who's using it as a pejorative, because he always uses it as a pejorative, he only uses it as a pejorative, would actually acknowledge where it comes from.
Of it during the 1970s and even earlier than that. But that's not what the word means any longer. It's taken on a new meaning. And basically, when I talk about wokeism, and when people in the United States in
Wokeism. Shut the fuck up.
general talk about wokeism, what they're referring to is a cultural and political movement that is a...
Why are you... Could you stop moving so we don't have the background moving like this, and maybe just... Do we need to look up your nostrils? Is there something going on in your nostrils that we're supposed to see, and like the fucking food between your teeth?
complete distortion of leftist politics. It is a hijacking of left-wing aesthetics.
You mean like claiming that it's like claiming it's somehow communist to protest alongside the Libertarian Party?
To serve the ultra-rich. Essentially, during the Cold War, there was something created by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency. It was called the Congress for Cultural Freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so the CIA created wokeness through the Congress for Cultural Freedom. He only has, like, 3 topics. He like, practically every time I watch something of his, he craps on about the Congress for Cultural Freedom.
And it was about hijacking left-wing aesthetics and manipulating them and using them against the Soviet Union. They wanted to take the feelings of rebellion, the feelings of anger at the status quo and the ruling elite that communists generally used, and they wanted to hijack them to serve U.S. intelligence. And
You mean sort of like have fake anti-war demo called by a bunch of white nationalists and neo-Nazis that's supposed to, that claims to be against some kind of ruling elite, but actually they just mean the Jews. You mean sort of like that, The thing you were standing is an example of the thing you're talking about. It's just kind of a neat tie-in there.
To serve the interests of American capitalism. And the culmination of that, what was started with the Congress for Cultural Freedom, with partisan...
What the fuck do people in Times Square think as they watch him rambling this crap into a phone, just walking down, what is this, 7th Avenue?
Magazine and a lot
familiar.
Of different operations. They funded the work of Theodore Adorno and others. The culmination of...
Oh, we've got a positive Frankfurt School sign.
It was the color revolutions, where George Soros...
Wait, what the okay, we've got Soros. Okay, of course we got Soros. But what the fuck does that have to do with woke? We've just moved over into just completely different territory here.
A Hungarian billionaire was used to essentially fine-tune the art of overthrowing governments that the United States didn't like, staging uprisings against governments that the United States...
Except the thing is, actually, if you look at the things that are called color revolutions, one of the things that is hard to miss is that there wasn't that the main characteristic is that there weren't anything you could call an uprising. That actually, rather than uprisings, it was just like fucking A to B marches, and the reason they had the name that they started getting called that was that they would just call themselves like the Orange Revolution or the Pink Revolution or whatever the fuck, just calling themselves a color with zero ideological content. And why? Come on, what's with my autofocus? But, I mean, this has absolutely nothing to do with wokeism. What the hell's going on with my camera now? Boista. Okay, that's more like it. Even get my hand up there. Ah, no, the chroma key takes it out. Pity.
States didn't like. They brought down the various Marxist-Leninist governments of the former Soviet Union. They brought down various governments around the world by staging, with manipulation of media.
That's the first time I've ever actually heard it claimed that was color revolutions. I mean, he's breaking all sorts of new ground as he walks around fucking Times Square.
Staging protests to overthrow governments. Basically, socialism has always been a movement of the working class struggling to seize control of the banks and the factories and the industries and organize the economy.
Oh, nice to see that mask. I mean, it's a surgical mask. They're, like, nearly useless, but still.
Serve public
better
good.
Than totally useless.
Wokeism is
better than this prick.
Tapping into people's desire to harm other people.
Wokeism is simply... He hasn't actually defined what the thing is. Except that it's tapping into people's desire to harm other people. Like, what?
Desire to rebel, people's desire to push back against authority, people's desire to punish people they perceive as having more privilege or power than them. And wokeism is stripping the economics and politics away from leftism.
You mean like when you talk about how the working class needs to ally with literal capitalists? Yeah, taking the economics out of leftism like that? When you, for example, just, let's say somebody who claims to be some sort of leftist ideologue decides to work together with far-right groups and gets really offended when people say that they probably shouldn't be having joint rallies with far-right groups who are notoriously funded by billionaires. That would be an example of taking the economics out of leftism and having sort of a fake rebellion as well, I suppose.
And reducing leftism to simply the libidinal sexual...
Here he is, libidinal. I mean, he didn't used to talk like this. It's only since he got found out sexually exploiting the members of the CPI that he's accusing everybody of being libidinal. Like, everyone except himself, mind you.
The drive of rage and anger, the rage of children against their parents, the rage of people against authority, the inner sex drive, which is connected...
Oh, God! Like, dude, just go get fucking seen, too. You go diagnosing other people's sex drives.
With rage.
You manipulated people into being sex workers for your personal benefit. And you're gonna talk about other people's fucking sex drive? Get the fuck out of here.
Psychological manipulation that strips left-wing politics of its economics, of its understanding of capitalism and imperialism, and reduces it simply to the release of impulses. It is the sexualization and pornographication of politics, and it's being used now by the ultra-rich, the richest and...
The fucking Libertarian Party are funded by the Koch brothers. Some of the richest motherfuckers on the planet. And you had a joint protest with them.
Most powerful people are trying to save capitalism by grinding the world into poverty. And so they've created this psychological manipulation, this hijacking of left-wing aesthetics to serve their own ends.
And notice that he hasn't actually given you a definition yet of what woke is. Like, you could not use this and actually be able to identify an example of it. It's just him running off at the mouth. It's the same shit he says about everything.
And basically, that's what wokeism is. Wokeism has nothing to do with socialism. Socialism, Marxism, communism, these are movements of working people striving to build a world where there is not instability, but there
God, you just stop showing me your fucking nostril. I don't need to see your nostrils up this close.
is order. They're striving to build a society where the means of production function to serve the public, where people are lifted out of poverty, where wealth can be created, where people can live in prosperity. Wokeism seeks to create chaos, death, and destruction.
Wait, his version of communism does not actually include the workers owning the means of production? Yeah, that's an interesting omission. It's kind of kind of a basic thing. A lot of people would agree that was kind of an important thing about communism, that the workers actually own the shit, actually control the means of production and use it for everybody's benefit, not just the public, that they're used for the public interest.
In order to save capitalism. Hey folks, I'm hanging
Okay. Oh god, is he just gonna be...
Well, I'm in New York City near Times Square, and I noticed that there's all this confusion.
Okay. So... there we go. Now, I'm thinking maybe continue with the thing with the fucking has bullshit we started yesterday. Because that was starting to go off the rails. But I'm open to persuasion on the subject. I'm also kind of curious about the Hogwarts Legacy debacle. I mean, I'm really kind of curious to know what Vosh says will make you a bad ally, considering that, I mean, he's like a non-ally. So, like, any strong feelings, any preferences? Here, let me show you what we've got here. We just saw what does woke mean. There's also amnesty for January 6th defendants. Well, that's actually another short one. January 6th political prisoners, peaceful transition to socialism. Summing up the white rage against the war machine with Maverick News, who I think... I feel like there's somebody supremely dodgy, but I'm not remembering exactly. 4.5 hours of pure debate. President Sunday versus Haz from Infrared, his weird ass. And, are you a bad ally if you buy Dogfart's Legacy? Okay, yeah, I mean, I have to say, it was not going off the rails to the degree I was hoping for. Like, I prefer Haz when he seems like he's having a fucking heart attack. Or about to. And he wasn't getting there. He was being incoherent as all shit, but... Okay. Are you a bad ally if you buy the anti-Semitic turf game?
Hello?
Howdy.
How is my mic quality?
Your mic quality sounds good. How you doing?
Not the best place right now. A lot of interpersonal life stuff happening with me.
Okay, who is this? Yeah, well, he behaved himself so far last night. That is a 4-hour video. We were 2 hours into it. I cannot imagine that he would actually get 4 hours in and not seriously lose his shit.
Well, hopefully we won't add to the stress levels too much by arguing on this irrelevant and extremely heated subject.
Yeah, irrelevant. I don't really think that he gets to decide what's relevant on the subject. There's a fucking boycott. There's a picket line. And he claims to be some kind of an ally. I mean, he isn't. He's an adversary. But you don't get to say, oh, it's not relevant.
Right. Well, mostly for me, like all debate, it's mostly just sport, and I'm just here to have fun, really. At least for myself.
God, okay. This is just such a fucked up culture to be. It's like having like debate for sport. That's what I mean. That's something that I'm not fundamentally against it, but when it's debate about actual things that actually matter to people's lives, and not say pineapple on pizza or is a falafel a sandwich, then I do think it should be taken kind of seriously.
Maybe just to distract myself from how horrendous life is right now.
Oh,
I saw you watch a video on stream that is an example of this horrendousness that happens.
Yeah, I would have said that every video he makes is an example of this horrendousness.
Can I ask you a question?
sure. What's up?
All right. Do you think trans people get more vitriol from strangers or people they're related to?
Probably people they're related to. Like it.
Okay, interesting question. I'd never given any thought to it. What do you reckon, chat? I mean, if we're just talking about sheer volume, I would have assumed. Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we're talking about stuff that actually matters, then the point should be to actually reach useful conclusions. Seems like if you have any kind of level of public exposure, like you're extremely online, you have some kind of visibility, you might get nasty shit from your family. I mean, certainly, but in terms of just volume, it seems like you'd be getting it from randoms.
It would be if not every trans person gets vitriol from people they're related to, but if they do, it would be many times worse than from strangers.
Yes. And well, why do you think that is?
Well, anything that involves like emotional degradation is going to be a lot more interpersonally damaging if you know the person, and if
This is so interesting because we're getting some insight into his tactics here.
you value their opinion.
That is true, but it's a little bit more than that. If it's like a public setting and if someone's being vitriolic, I have the ability to escape. But when it's like interpersonal, it can feel like it's at home, in which case it feels like you're in a prison that you can't do anything about it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that tracks.
go ahead.
I'm lucky to have had supportive parents.
What you're just a fucking random asshole. This isn't about you.
By the way, what name should my audience call you by, and pronouns?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I totally forgot about that. I apologize. My name is Romofet. You can call me Nikki, or I also have she, her pronouns. I am a slutty furry squirrel.
Those two tend to go together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you emailed me because you disagreed with me on the Hogwarts Legacy stuff. What did you
Okay, chat. What do you reckon his take was? Maybe you already saw. I'm assuming that his take is that it's totes okay to fucking play the game and give the turf money.
disagree with?
Well, so the first thing that I disagree with, which is the least important, is, and I'm sure you've heard this before, is your vitriol with it. I'm not here to necessarily tone police you.
No. You can tone police him. He's an asshole. He's not fucking marginalized. Get the fuck out of here. He needs like a fucking tone SWAT team. Let's be honest here. Yeah, fucking tone granaderos. To just shut him the fuck up when he dials the asshole thing up too high. Yeah, I mean, seriously.
I will ask, is like a lot of your like hatred on this topic, especially towards like other like people who are for the boycott, is this performative for your like is for your show?
Oh, okay. Hatred. Yeah. Oh, that's okay. That's a great question to ask him, and I don't, because she sort of she had trouble getting it out there. I'm getting the feeling that she's probably a bit nervous about this, and I can understand that. No shade there, obviously, but she just asked, is his vitriol towards people who support the boycott of Hogfart's legacy performative and the fucking chef's kiss.
Show
No, the
for your live show.
the frustration's sincere. I just feel like it's a really like kind of obvious topic in a lot of ways, and it's very frustrating that the left keeps tripping over itself like over and over and over again when it comes to basic optic stuff. It's always
Basic optics. God, I mean, already one of my least favorite liberal
the
buzzwords.
same issue. It's always about purity testing and like everything that happens.
No, it's not about purity testing. It's about whether a horrible fucking person gets money and does so by marketing a fucking anti-Semitic game that was developed by a literal neo-Nazi. Like, shut the fuck up, purity testing.
Has to do with an opportunity to purity test ends up being like an opportunity to trip over yourself again and again and again and again. So I get increasingly frustrated with time over this. But
Oh, I'm so sorry that he's so frustrated, but I'm just hearing the term purity testing, and I can't help think that time that he was just falling over himself to get Professor Flowers to like slip up and say something that he could use to prove that being anti-colonial means being for white genocide, and that was kind of a purity test, I think. And also him talking about falling over their own feet on this issue, or whatever the phrase he was, falling over themselves. I mean, this is a fucker who every time he has intervened on the subject, in a discussion responding to TERFs, whether it's JKR or some other one, he manages to completely make it about himself and by saying some serious misogynistic shit. So then the discussion ends up being how, like, basically every fucking legit trans ally and feminist and, like, decent person has to first distance themselves from his fucking bullshit instead of just talking about the transphobia.
Well, specifically, you were telling like certain trans people to unfollow you. That
good advice. Definitely do. I mean,
video that you just uploaded with about Hassan. Do you believe in that wholeheartedly, or again, is this just like hyperbolic?
when did I say what did I say they should unfollow me for?
Oh, because they were talking about how like they were not understanding where you were coming from, or not understanding that like how do I explain this?
That they were kind of annoyed that he was scabbing, I think is what she's trying to say. Yeah, that's the term that she's trying to avoid saying, I think. He's scabbing. He's advocating for scabbing.
It was someone saying you can make money playing a different game. You can, do a stream, like a charity stream playing a different game. And you're like, that's not the point of this.
Oh, I remember this. I think I was in this review. Hassan said something like, "Oh, well, you have to would it be okay if I pay money to get Hogwarts Legacy and then stream it and market it as long as the money's going to trans charities?" And people quite rightly said, "Yeah, no. Maybe be the stream that publicly boycotts it." I mean, he's got a reasonable sized platform. And a lot of people actually would be looking for a stream that doesn't have that anti-Semitic bullshit by the TERF being featured. There was absolutely no reason to do that except to just cash in on the fucking bandwagon of a game that actually, according to the reviewers, sucks. I mean, just apart from the anti-Semitism, apart from the whole gender turfical ideology, just the game sucks. It's not a good game.
You told that person to unfollow you.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that seems like the kind of mean thing that I would say to somebody in chat who I disagree with. They can if they want to, obviously. I'm usually pretty...
Well, thanks for the permission, Daddy.
Hyperbolic when I'm giving shit to chat. Though, obviously, if they want to unfollow me for my takes, that is always on the table,
I think everybody already knows that.
Right.
I think it was because they said something like, why don't you just play another game? So I was like, why don't you just watch another streamer or something?
Yeah, fuck you. It's a reasonable question. Because the thing is, he gets hella hits. He gets plenty of people watching it, no matter what he's playing, no matter what's coming out of his mouth, no matter what, it doesn't have to be coherent, it doesn't have to make sense, it doesn't actually even have to be particularly entertaining. He gets plenty of people watching at this point. And if the idea was. So, there's absolutely no reason that he would have to do this. Yeah, and the only way to do the only ethical Chick-fil-A mukbang there is if you rob the place. I've never heard of Vine Sanctuary, but that sounds like a cool place. Where's it located? I love places like that. Yeah, I mean,
It felt like it was kind of it was like an easy follow through to that point.
yeah, I mean that is Vosh all over there. They're just looking for the easy follow through rather than maybe engaging with the point that like marginalized people are saying. We got a picket line up here. Maybe don't play the anti-Semitic game and give the fucking turf with way too much money in the first place more money. Maybe use your platform to do something worthwhile for a change. And all he's got is, well, love it or leave it, basically.
Sure. And then like obviously the vitriol towards not I wouldn't necessarily call it vitriol, but just like how you handled it with Jessie Gender. Do you believe the things that you said about her or about her particular position on this?
Now, I don't know what he said. I'm hoping we get a recap of that. See, this is the thing that gets me. It's like, and this is no shade on her. I've already forgotten her name. I'm terrible with names. If she sees this, I am sorry about that. I'm just absolute rubbish with names. But so many people, and I think there's probably there might be a little bit of apprehension about fucking hate mobs after this. So I don't blame anybody. But it's like, on the other hand, just I just kind of really hope one time somebody who comes on and calls him out on his shit will do it with the forcefulness it deserves.
That it was retarded?
Oh, wonderful, we got some ableism in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So have you ever heard of a book called Transgender Marxism?
Oh, that's cool. Actually, some friends of mine wrote that. And I'm embarrassed to say I haven't gotten around to read it yet. But everything I hear is good, and the people I know who wrote it are sound. They have very interesting takes. Probably a very good book, and I will be absolutely fucking gobsmacked if he's even heard of it.
That does sound familiar. I don't know if it's just because I've heard the two words in tandem so often. I think I've heard of it.
Right. It's actually a book that I know Jessie Gender has read. I've also read this book myself, and there are some things that I've taken away from it. Have you?
Okay, so she's already got him at a disadvantage because she actually reads books. He actually, I mean, if you want to hide shit from Vosh, put it in a book.
Heard of the term social reproduction theory?
Yes.
Oh god, yeah, okay, he hasn't heard of any of this shit. He doesn't know a thing about it. Social reproduction, just in case anyone in chat is unfamiliar, is the sort of flip side of production in capitalism. It is all of the labor that is involved in making sure that there are living workers and a next generation of them so that capitalism can keep functioning. Essentially, it's all the care work and stuff like that that is generally done by women and is generally completely unremunerated and often totally unacknowledged. And so social reproduction theory is theory dealing with that aspect of life in capitalism.
Yes, I've heard of that.
All right. Actually, you know what? Well, okay. do you want to describe to me what social reproduction
Oh,
theory
yes, please do.
is, or do you want to describe?
Oh no, I've just
what...
heard the term. I don't.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's unfortunate. I was really hoping that he would venture out on that limb.
I don't know. I couldn't use it in a
Alright.
sentence. I've just heard it.
All right. Well, so social reproduction theory is a
Oh, fuck you with your fucking beard trimming on your stream. You're looking like the German guy from Punch-Out.
Marxist feminist term. At least that's where it originated from.
Oh, I don't feel too bad about it. Because it's not for... I have, like, 5 or 6 books on the go at a time. And I've been kind of broke in the past year and a half, so I haven't bought a whole lot of books in the past year and a half. And it's just one of those where it's like, okay, that sounds worthwhile, and I remember it, and then usually I remember it at a time when I'm really not in a position to be buying new books, and then I sort of forget all about it, and I've got like 5 other books I'm reading, and then it comes up and again, and it's like, oh shit, I meant to get that. So I don't feel really bad, but it's like, at the same time...
It's basically a lot of the unpaid labor that is used to facilitate paid labor, right? So this is stuff like people need emotional connections. They need, like, if you were to send a man out to work, like 16-hour days, have them come home, sleep for like 3 hours, go back out for another 16 hours, they're not going to be in a good space. You know what I mean? Like, who's going to make their food? Who's going to do their laundry? All these different things, all these different necessities that help perpetuate capital, help perpetuate profit, help perpetuate labor.
Yeah, okay, she's doing an excellent job. I mean, I'm by no means an SRT expert, but, I mean, this is definitely, she's doing a good job of explaining what it is. It is certainly my understanding of it. This is probably some of the, I mean, it's the really characteristic of Vush's streams that the only way that any concept, any theoretical concept gets explained remotely accurately is if somebody's called in to argue with him.
And all of this is essentially unpaid.
Gotcha, that makes sense.
But necessary.
So it would be a reference to any kind of labor that exists necessarily to maintain the status quo and facilitate the reproduction of capital. That does.
I'm really curious to see where she's taking this, actually, because I don't actually see where this is going, but I'm interested. And I'm pretty sure whatever it is, Vush is not going to know what the fuck he's talking about.
It doesn't get treated like regular labor because it doesn't fit into the traditional, like, labor selling, wage rewarding metric that we use to describe, like, labor traditionally.
Exactly.
And it's overwhelmingly...
and I guess this stuff is necessary. Like, love and affection is necessary. Maybe not to some people, but hey, this is how we reproduce as a society. So the reason I bring that up is because when I'm going to be using the term social reproduction, I'm not talking about...
Gotcha.
Okay, I have to say, she's really growing on me. I like the way she's actually established her terms there, and it seems like she's finding more confidence as she goes, so this, which is just nice to see, because he needs somebody who is going to, like, fucking smack him down forcefully. And that's what I'm always kind of looking for in these situations. And, I mean, the annoying thing is sometimes the people who do it are just the worst assholes ever. Like, I mean, the only time I've ever seen fucking Caleb Maupin look educated is when he's arguing with Vush. And that's not good.
Yeah, that tracks, and I won't interpret it in that fashion. But what, may I ask, does this have to do with Jesse gender, or anything pertaining to the Hogwarts Legacy boycott?
Right, so in
Okay,
this
now...
book, Transgender Marxism, there was this usage, because they bring up the term social reproduction theory a lot, and this is also useful for trans people. So trans people use a lot of social reproduction in our own communities because, well,
Yeah, like found families and stuff.
it's not always impossible for trans people to reproduce, but it's much harder than a cis couple. So a lot of it has to do with forms of bonding, forms of like affection, forms of just being there for each other.
Like, okay, things that he knows absolutely nothing about.
Sorry, I had to get some water.
Gotcha.
Now that we've...
Okay, I don't know. I mean, the name Jesse Gender kind of rings a bell, but I had no idea. Okay, so thank you, Phoenix. See, this is one of the great things about streaming, because people in chat will fill in the gaps of stuff that is important context, but I don't know about it. I mean, so, okay, what did Jesse actually say? Let's just get that in there, because since he's gonna be distorting the shit out of it, whatever it was. What was Jesse's actual position? I mean, and even if Jesse didn't call for a boycott, plenty of other people did. And, I mean, it's just ridiculous to cross, and it's just an obvious thing simply not to send her money anyway.
Discussed how, like, a lot of trans people use social reproduction. I wanted to ask, what do you think necessarily the goal for trans people was to boycott Hogwarts Legacy?
Oh, okay. This should be interesting. Because the only way... He's only capable of thinking of things in terms of, like, how he thinks about things. Which is to say, fucking clout chasing and marketing and, you know, money. And just a completely superficial way of relating to people. Is he going to get anywhere near?
Their goal is probably to deprive it of attention.
I don't recall all of it, Phoenix says, but she basically said that purchasing it will directly line J.K. Rowling's pocket, so if you care about trans people, you should consider if it's worth it. Okay, yeah. And that, yeah, I mean, and that's, makes perfect sense. And it is, I mean, it's actually quite obvious. It's quite obvious. And the only thing I would add is also Jewish people, because the thing is anti-Semitic as fuck. And it doesn't even... It's, like, beyond the dog whistle stage. There is so much just very open anti-Semitic stuff. Like, they really ride the whole goblins as Jews thing hard in this. I mean, in ways where you could just kind of tell a Nazi was one of the lead devs. So, okay, yeah. I mean, totally... Okay, totally reasonable position, one that I happen to agree with.
And of revenue as a way of indicating a lack of public support for the positions held by J.K. Rowling.
See, he can't actually consider that sometimes things are not just symbolic. I mean... Yeah, I mean, it's not just about, because it's not just indicating a lack of public support, it's literally that boycotting this affects her bottom line directly. It's not just about, like, indicating a lack of public support, it's about the fact that she gets less money that way. Directly.
Okay, if that's your earnest belief, then I could definitely see how a boycott like this would be completely ineffectual. And
wait, then what do you think its actual purpose was?
Well, yes, because I disagree with that purpose. You know what I mean? I don't think that, like...
Although, actually, I mean, I'm not sure. This is a little while back, but it looks like, judging from the, like, sales and streaming figures of the game, it looks like, actually, it hasn't been ineffectual at all. It really... it had a good first week or so, but it's totally bottomed out. It is not a popular game. And probably probably that's partially the fact that it just sucks. I have not played it. I'm not going to send any money her way for anything. But I've read enough reviews from people who have pointed out that it's just, in terms of gameplay, it's boring, and it just sucks. It's just a shitty game. They didn't do well. And somebody actually, in an article I think on Wired or Salon.com maybe, said that what could be going on there, and I have not heard any further detail, but it would be very interesting to hear more, is game development is full of LGBT people, and, there are grapevines and people saying, if you care about trans people, don't work on that fucking project. And this person, this author, suggested that probably some of that was at work, and that's why they simply did not have, the A team to be doing this.
That would have to assume that trans people think that we're dumb enough to actually believe Harry Potter as a franchise, as this huge franchise where millions of dollars is pumped into it, is going to be stopped by our meager contributions.
Yeah, except, see, there I have to disagree, because it's not a matter of whether it's stopped. The point is, less money goes there. That's already a good thing. Especially less money for this particular thing. I mean, it's one thing. I mean, because this is a very specific boycott. It's not like people have said it wasn't targeting every single thing that fucking JKR's got her fucking name on. It's specifically targeting this game. And to the extent that we look at it in terms of specifically targeting this game, that actually has a pretty good chance, especially because the game sucks.
It's not about that. It's about it. This is about. It's for other trans people. It's not about any cis person. It's not about depriving J.K. Rowling her money. She's rich.
That's strange. I've not heard this version. Like, literally every single person I've seen advocating the boycott is specifically saying, don't let money, stop sending money to her.
Enough. She'll die rich. You know what I mean? It's not about that.
I've definitely seen people saying it. It's specifically about that. I mean,
okay, and I hate to have to agree with this dickhead, but yeah, like literally everybody I've heard talk about it, advocating it. That's the thing. It's like, one, it's just a horrible game, anti-Semitic and everything, but two, don't send her money. She's already got too much of it.
Boycotts are traditionally for that purpose, to deny attention and money to the product or the company that they're talking. What other possible purpose could a boycott be for?
Well, so it's one of the same things that you did your whole supporting Biden thing over. What?
Okay, bringing up one of the cringiest moments in recent Bush history.
So early on, when you were talking about how one of the reasons you support Biden is to reveal the ineffectual nature of the American democratic system. Is that correct, or am I
okay, I will be absolutely shocked if that's correct.
misinterpreting?
Well, I thought Biden should win over Trump, and I think the left should care about electoral politics for sure.
Do you think electoral politics will be the way towards socialism?
They're a necessary component of winning the public support that would allow us to build socialism. Even if it's not the mechanism by which it is actually built, it's still a part of the PR process.
Okay, that's just incoherent as hell.
PR process.
The PR no, it isn't. That's that's just such complete nonsense, but we're not even here to talk about this.
All right. But it could also be a part of the PR process by people seeing that this system is going to, it's not going to kill itself, and it won't fail inward unless through like some mistake that it does or some unforeseen consequence of a certain action they do. A lot of it is going to be like, hey, I no longer trust the system. We need to build more horizontal structures instead of like lateral structures.
Yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with a deficiency in other approaches.
Well, yeah, it does. It has to do. The reason that she's suggesting that approach is because, as she pointed out, the approach that he supports is completely ineffectual.
It's still necessary to participate in those. I still don't understand what other purpose there could be to boycotting Hogwarts Legacy that doesn't involve an effort to deprive J.K. Rowling of public support and of wealth.
Right. Well, okay. So a lot of this argument hinged on the idea that like, I guess I'll just jump into it. So the reason that trans people are doing this is to allow us, like, or to show us ourselves as a trans community how powerful we are in society, how much leeway cis people or generally the social consciousness is going to let us prosper.
Well, I don't.
Okay, I mean, I kind of see where she's going there, but it seems like an odd example because it isn't. I mean, it is certainly, in a sense, a way of like cis people showing that they give a shit about trans people, I suppose, in that sense. But I mean, that's still sort of out of all the thing. If that was the idea, there's so many better things they could do, like disrupting the shit out of these floor debates where they're imposing these genocidal laws in the states. There are a million things I would really prefer somebody to prove their allyship with. This is just don't send money to somebody who sucks.
I don't think. I mean, that power would be demonstrated in your ability to deprive them of attention and sales, right? I mean, the only mechanism by which you could demonstrate power through a boycott would be through the other objective of a boycott, which would be to deprive it of wealth and of sales.
Okay, he's making too much sense.
Well, yeah, so I want you to imagine a world where imagine if we lived in a world where this boycott worked. How much better do you think trans people in this world would be?
I mean,
Not really a whole hell of a lot. We're in a world where the boycott seems to have worked, combined with the fact that the game sucks shit. I mean, we're in that world, and I don't think that it's like it could be worse. A world where the game was a runaway success and people specifically played it despite how much it sucks in order to, stick it to trans people and Jews would be certainly worse. But I don't think that you can really say that there's a significant improvement just as a result of people not buying it.
It's a fanciful possibility, but it didn't happen, and it can't happen. There's no reasonable way a boycott can function in this way.
Well, I mean, yeah, it can function in the sense that in the sense that not crossing a picket line is also a way of showing that you care about the people operating the picket line. Yeah, I suppose so. It does work that way, but I just don't. It's just such out of the thing. It is such a minor thing. That's what pisses me off so much about these like left-right streamers who decided to stream the fucking game, because it is just so little to ask. It costs literally no money. In fact, I mean, you're actually saving money by not doing it. And, you're denying some daylight to a shitty game, and you're denying money and advertising to somebody should get either of them.
If the trans community could somehow
Well, he wasn't. So yeah. Last night we had Has controlling himself. Tonight we have Bush making sense. Is this an alternate timeline? No, this is a temporary phenomenon. I'm sure, but he wasn't making sense a minute ago. It's just that this is a hard one to fuck up, even for him. I mean, even he knows what a boycott is.
magically do that, that'd be great. But boycotts don't work at all. The entire right wing wasn't able to
Yeah, boycotts actually do work. They work in certain very specific circumstances against certain very specific targets. Boycotts do work. I mean, they often, like, when it's just some sort of random consumer boycott where it's like somebody saying, oh, I don't buy Nike because I don't approve of their labor practices or something. Yeah, that's pointless. That absolutely nothing happens. And in fact, I mean, there's zero connection there to the actual workers who supposedly are supposed to benefit from the action. But actually, boycotts can certainly work. And sometimes they work in unexpected ways. Like, if you look at the Palestinian BDS campaign, for example, what has scared the shit out of Israel, what they have seen as the true existential threat around BDS, which is why it is why it's treated as a threat at such a high level in their government, is precisely what they call delegitimization. Because the thing is, every time a specific campaign is launched, every time a specific campaign around, whatever, Sabra Hummus or something like that is launched, it is used as an opportunity to explain how these corporations and their profit models connect into the oppression and apartheid in Palestine. And it means that suddenly, I mean, what gets them, what pisses Israel off and really worries worries that regime, is precisely that now it's not uncontroversial to do certain things with Israel in there. Like, it's not like you can, if you're, a major pop artist, you decide that you're going to play Israel, you're going to hear about it. People are definitely going to talk about it, and often they've actually reconsidered after that, and every time that happens, it creates more of, it sort of strips away this idea that this is just, some completely normal, benign, the only democracy in the Middle East and stuff like that, and makes their propaganda work harder. So, boycotts can work in unexpected ways. And they can actually work in the way they're supposed to if the target is well selected and if they're well organized. So the idea but they are hard to pull off, and a lot of them don't.
meaningfully boycott Nike or Gillette, and they're far more powerful and wealthy and influential.
See, that's a bad example, because the thing is that the far right, they talk about boycotting this shit. They don't. Not many people actually do it. The number of people who get that excited about that shit are not. It's just not enough people to actually have that kind of impact. They are in the absolute minority when you just talk about people who are willing to admit to voting for Republicans. When you talk about the people who are, active enough that they're keeping an eye on what woke brands they have to boycott now, who's going woke, and all their wokeness and stuff, which, as we just heard, is the legacy of Jackson Pollock and the Congress for Cultural Freedom, apparently. There just aren't that many doing it. It's just it is just the most performative thing ever. So that's just not a great example.
Than just the trans community, or whatever subset of it cares about Hogwarts legacy.
Right. Well, disregard their movements, because I'm not interested in reproducing their movements. I'm saying in a world where this gets huge traction and it actually does hurt the numbers of this company.
That's this world.
Behoove, like the Hogwarts brand to try to separate as far away from J.K. Rowling as possible, or as far away from any other form of trans bigotry.
But that didn't happen, which is
Mhm.
my
Except it actually, I mean, to a certain extent, it did happen. The sales numbers on the game, the number of people streaming it, suck. I mean, they are absolutely. I mean, it's the curve, the graph of the sales and streaming hours of the game is just completely downward. I mean, it looks like fucking. It looks like non-managerial real wages in the U.S. recently. Uh, so now, the degree to which that has to do with the fact that the game is no good, and the degree to which that has to do with the fact that J.K. Rowling has gone from being thought of as a beloved children's author to being a toxic turd who just sits on top of a huge pile of money to say, like, fascist things, is a complicated question, and I would say that probably both things happen. It would probably be a different story if the game were any good. But as I already mentioned, there's another kind of boycott that was also apparently going on in terms of the developers.
criticism. Like, I don't
It
think
doesn't happen. Yes.
right. So that would be my criticism. It's why I would say this is kind of like retarded.
God, can you... Jesus Christ. What an asshole. And with that, it is coming up on 1 a.m., so let me just say thank you to everyone who's joined. Thank you to Phoenix and Adam and Black Anarchic React who showed up and hung out with us last night. Great stream, do check it out. There's a very interesting thing there on Caleb Maupin, and one I've been watching, he's doing a whole thing on cults that is really quite good. Very well worth checking out. And let me just say, if you enjoy the stream and you feel able to do so, please consider paying for the stream, which you can do by becoming a patron or with the tip command. And that goes towards my current crowdfunded translation project, the Chapter 1 of Socialnia Osnovui, Женского вопроса, Social Basis of the Female Question by Alexander Kalantai, which is progressing apace. I'm really excited about that project. And yeah, Vosh is a real piece of shit. I mean, it's like he just wants to gloat over the idea that of people who actually try to do shit not managing it because he doesn't do shit. I mean, he's just an asshole. He does not stick his neck out on anything. But yeah, it's time. Yeah, nonetheless, it is time to say goodnight and thank you, everyone. And also, apparently there's quite a bit of long COVID going around amongst pilots, so maybe avoid flying if you would all can, because that shit's causing serious brain damage, and I don't feel safe flying with that shit. See you all next week.